All right, so I've had questions about this for a while now, and I've either seen it in other alliances in our realm or by our opponents, and I just want to address it. Hey guys, this is Heretic, and in this video I'm going to talk about reinforcements, when they work, and when you should never do it. First, what is a reinforcement? A reinforcement, here I'm going to show you, is simply when you send your troops over. So you click someone in your alliance. It can't be in an opposing alliance. It can't be in a friendly alliance. It can't be in your farm alliance. Your castle has to be in that alliance to be able to reinforce it. So if I look here on a farm alliance, I can only attack it, right? I can't reinforce it. So someone else in your alliance, so you click them, you click reinforce, and then you send some troops over, right? And you can balance it out, and you send these troops over. And whenever you reinforce them, if anyone else attacks them, your troops are in the mix to defend them. So they're added to the person that you're reinforcing, or the building, or whatever it is. It's added to the total number of troops that are on defense. And they'll stay there until that castle moves, basically, or until your troops are killed. So hopefully that doesn't happen. So let's start off for when you should never reinforce. And then later on, we can talk about when it's okay to reinforce. So let's start off with number one. So you're an alliance and it's early in the game and people are fighting, right? So in the beginning of a new realm, there's a lot of fighting usually going on. Alliances are kind of trying to become the big dogs in the realm, and maybe they're working together, maybe they're working alone, but you're in this, that's the scenario. And you see red lines coming over to your friend. Let's say it's over here on Socially Awkward. You see red lines coming, so someone's going to attack them. It could be one person, it could be multiple people attacking at the same time. And you send reinforcements. Sometimes that's okay. Other times it could be a disaster. So if you're in a relatively small alliance and the opposing alliance that's doing all the attacking has someone that's just a mega spender, their stats are double yours, triple anyone else in your alliance, and they're attacking that person, honestly, it's okay not to defend. What can happen is, and I've seen it many times, and it's been even whenever I've been the person attacking, is you'll see everyone in this small alliance start to reinforce. And then basically I'm able to, or that person would be able to kill all of the defense, including your troops, which may be, you might be okay. They may just go to the hospital because you're on defense, right? But there's only so many times you can take having to re-heal your troops. And also that opens it up. So let's say if I reinforce Socially Awkward and Ratno or someone like that attacks them and my troops get hit, and so I lose, let's say, 100K troops, but my wounded capacity, my hospital capacity is at 115. So I've just lost 100K of them, right? They've gone to the hospital. So that means I only have enough room for 15,000 more troops to go in the hospital. Well, now if Ratno attacked me and I had 100K troops home, now I'm going to end up losing, 60, 70,000 troops. And that's something you don't want to happen. Also, if you're having to constantly heal your troops, and it's the beginning of the game, right? And you're constantly having to heal troops, you're not going to have speed ups for training troops. You're not going to have speed ups for building more of your buildings, like your medic tents. And you're not going to have, a lot of resources. You're going to lose those. So it's not always a great thing to defend your friends. One of the very first things that an alliance should do is to teach their players how to defend and be responsible for their own troops. Mistakes happen, and you will reinforce. Make sure you talk to your alliance leadership to see when you should and when you shouldn't reinforce one of your friends in your alliance. I've seen small alliances and they're trying to be, prideful, and they want to defend all of their friends all of the time. And what happens is they burn out because that's all they do is heal. Make sure that your friends know how to save their own troops, their own resources, and be responsible for them. Have a plan in your alliance. Every alliance should have a plan for defending. So especially in the beginning of the game, you have to know, you should have chats. We have them where if I'm going to be offline for 24 hours and I know there's a chance we're going to get hit, even it's just a good idea, even if you don't think you will ever be hit, to say, hey, I just put on a shield. Here's my location. It's going to be on for 24 hours and this is the time. That way everyone knows if it's safe or not to actually reinforce you to save some troops. So another thing, and I kind of touched on that a little bit, is you need to make sure that your hospital capacity, and you can check it, the best, easiest way to check your capacity for wounded troops within your hospital is to go over here to the drill grounds and go to marching army. When it says my wounded at the top, that 263,608 are the number of troops that can go in my hospital before I start losing troops. So right now I have 780,000 troops home. If someone, if a whole alliance attacked me right now, they might be able to kill 500,000 troops. That would be a bad thing, right? So I would have to hide my troops. You never want to reinforce someone else with more troops than your hospital can handle. So in my case, I have 263,000 troops that can fit in my hospital. I don't want to send more troops over here on a reinforcement. Like if I had a really big march that was above my hospital capacity, I definitely don't want to send all of them to reinforce. So especially in the beginning of the game, everyone's in this craze of kind of growing their castle as fast as they can to the detriment of the other buildings that are within your hospital grounds, your castle grounds. So, you're in a hurry. All you want to do is you want to get your castle built up and you want to get your barracks built up so you can get that new tier of troops. Like here, I have 134, right? I know it's bad practice. I need to build up my barracks up to the same level as my castle. That's the best way to do it, honestly, over time, is to grow all of your buildings up to the same level as your castle before you move up to the next level. But I understand everybody gets in a hurry, just like I did here, and you can't keep up with it. Well, what a lot of people do is they completely forget about all the buildings over here. So their medic tents will be really low, much lower than their castle. So I've seen people at castle level 34 with like 5 and 10 level medic tents, and that's terrible, 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 terrible. So don't be that person. All right, another time you shouldn't reinforce is, and then I kind of touched on it a little bit, so you have a plan, but let's say your alliance doesn't have a plan, and I go over here and I reinforce this person right here, OG Dirty. So, well, I can't because he's in another alliance, but okay. Let's say I want to reinforce someone who's shielded, and I'm just looking around here and I find the Gimp over here and I reinforce, and I'm not sure if this person's actually going to have a shield for the amount of time that I'm going to be offline. So I'm offline for 5 hours, 8 hours, or whatever, but his shield ends before I come back, and then he gets hit, I end up losing troops. That's not a good thing. So make sure you know, either through some kind of a mail that's sent out or by talking to that person directly, that they're going to have a shield on for the full amount of time that you're going to be offline. Another time you shouldn't reinforce, and this one is a pretty simple one. So You should never, under any circumstances, reinforce, so this person's doing bad, reinforce the Alliance Castle. Why? So in the past, you could reinforce the Alliance Castle in phase 2 of the Crown event, but they've eliminated that phase. So now there's only a single phase for that event. There's no defense of the Crown. So there is no reason to reinforce the Alliance Castle. Your troops are never safe there, other than in like Frenzy or Void. The opponent realms cannot attack it, but on a day-to-day thing, if someone in another alliance attacked that Alliance Castle that we have, this person is going to lose troops. Under no circumstances should you ever reinforce the Alliance Castle. Same thing. You should never reinforce a flag unless you're trying to trap someone. So if you're in a flag war, which are terrible, where you're trying to knock out someone's flags and they're trying to knock out yours, or they're all just trying to attack and knock out yours, and you want to trap someone. So this typically would happen if you have a farm alliance and someone's just mad that there's some farm that's taking up the good mines. They will try to knock out your flags. And what you would do is you would leave the alliance that you're in, join your farm alliance, and as they're sending troops over to attack that flag, you would speed in there and they would hit it and they would lose a lot. That would be the only time that you would want to actually reinforce a flag. And even in that case, you want to bring home your troops as soon as that small battle, that easy battle is over. Even in that case, you don't want to do it if someone is super strong and they're attacking the flags. You want to do it against someone you know would lose a lot of troops. All right. So another time you should never, ever, ever reinforce someone is in the Frenzy event. So we have the Frenzy event coming up this next weekend. And what happens is on the last day of the event, you can go to the other kingdom, the other realm, and you can attack people for points. So in the Frenzy event, no one truly loses troops just during that event. But in the Frenzy event, unlike the Void event, the most amount of points are given for attacking, not for defending. Defending gives a very limited amount of points. So by you reinforcing anyone that's being attacked in Frenzy, you might get a few points, but that person attacking is going to get a lot more points off of you. And so the name of the game is not for you to get points so you can get some reward. It's for your realm to actually win the event. So by winning the event, you'll get more rewards. It'll be a better experience, and then it's more, everyone in your alliance would get something rather than just you. So never, ever, 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 ever reinforce someone in the Frenzy event. I've seen people kicked out of alliances for doing this. You're giving points away to the opposing realm, so don't do that. With that, if you can think of anything I left out, let me know in the comments, okay? So when should you reinforce? All right, so number one, you can hide troops when you're going to be offline or even in an event. You reinforce trusted friends you are sure will protect your troops with a shield. So Lion21 told me he's going to be off for 3 days. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to be off, or I'm in an event and I want to keep my second and third and fourth marches shielded. I don't want to lose them. I want to keep my angels, safe. So I'm going to reinforce him. That's an acceptable time to reinforce. You can also reinforce the Alliance Fortress. And if you don't know this, is you can go ahead and go to Alliance and then go down to the bottom and go to Alliance Buildings, go to Alliance Hall, click Alliance Fort, and then you can reinforce. Right? And you can see a bunch of people in my alliance do that. And these troops are always safe. There's no way they can be hit. So this is an excellent way of hiding some troops. So, but if you have 2 marches, you would want to send one maybe to Lion 21 since he's going to be off for 3 days, right? And then you would want to send your second march over to the Alliance Fort. Also, when you're doing that, especially in the beginning of the game, one really smart thing to do is if everyone in your realm is relatively even, or if you have a strong account and you know you're going to give losses more than you're going to take, you could keep your best troops home up to and below your hospital capacity, right? And then send every other, like your lower level troops over to the Alliance Fortress or over to someone who's definitely going to be shielded. All right, so the second time that you'll want to reinforce is, and this is especially in the beginning of the game, when you at least have one other strong player that's about even to the other people that may be attacking, the other alliances, and you're fairly certain that, and even in that case, if it's somewhat balanced, right? So let's just say that your realm is somewhat balanced. You will want to defend people in your alliance up to your hospital capacity, right? It all comes to your hospital capacity. But let's say you have a really high hospital capacity, you send a march over and you reinforce 1567 or Coffee King, right? So you reinforce Coffee King up to your hospital capacity, and then someone attacks them, and like everyone in your alliance sends reinforcements over. And they may do this. Even the better way to do this is you see the red line coming in, and as soon as the swords show up above that castle, you speed in to reinforce them, and other people in your alliance do that. And that person attacking, especially in the beginning of the game before people have SOS, they take a ton of losses, right? That's almost like the best way to fight in this game, is to be on defense. So in that case, it's smart. Where I said it's not smart is if you have someone that is almost godly and they're attacking. In that case, stay out of the fight. Save your troops, save having to heal a bunch of troops all the time, right? Be smart, talk to the leaders in your alliance, and they will give you a better idea of what you should do and what you shouldn't do as far as reinforcing other people within your alliance. All right, so with that, stay safe out there.